from now to send the unpiloted Cygnus cargo craft into orbit on a 3-day journey to deliver some 4 tons of supplies and scientific experiments to the International Space Station. Launch is set for 8:38 and 44 seconds p.m. Central Time, 9:38 and 44 seconds p.m. Eastern Time at the start of a 5-minute launch window. Weather for tonight's launch is excellent. The forecast calls for just a few clouds at 5,000 feet and 25,000 feet. Winds out of the southwest at 4 knots. A launch time temperature of 67 degrees Fahrenheit overall. The weather officer at Wallops says we are 90% go for launch this evening. Good evening from our anchor post at Mission Control here in Houston and the International Space Station Flight Control Room at the Johnson Space Center. Flight controllers here are monitoring their consoles, watching over the station, its systems, and the 3 crew members comprising the Expedition 63 crew. More on them in a moment. Back at the Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia, Northrop Grumman engineers are monitoring the countdown of this hour from the Range Control Center that you see there, and will be in control of the 9-minute climb to orbit for the 2-stage Antares rocket from liftoff to Cygnus's spacecraft separation from the vehicle's 2nd stage. Up the road from Wallops in Dulles, Virginia, another team of Northrop Grumman engineers are on duty as well, ready to take over the flight of Cygnus after spacecraft separation. They are under the lead tonight of Mission Director Zach Dwyer. Here at Mission Control in Houston, the Orbit 3 team of flight controllers is on duty with the station crew members well into their sleep period for the night. Flight Director and former astronaut T.J. Creamer is presiding over the Orbit 3 team this evening. This past Sunday, the Antares rocket and the encapsulated Cygnus cargo craft rolled out from its integration building at Wallops to the Oceanside launch pad to receive late cargo loading and to be rotated vertically for final pre-launch processing. As you probably know by now, the launch was originally scheduled for Tuesday night, but a forecast of inclement weather at Wallops for both Tuesday and Wednesday pushed this initial launch attempt to this evening. Now we're sitting at T-minus 35 minutes, 55 seconds and counting. All systems are go for launch. No issues being worked by the flight control teams and the launch control teams at Wallops. As has become the custom for Northrop Grumman, each Cygnus resupply craft is named after a noted space explorer who contributed to the cause of human space exploration. The Cygnus being launched tonight is named for NASA astronaut Kalpana Chawla, who twice flew into space on the STS-87 mission aboard the Space Shuttle Columbia in 1997, and then on the ill-fated STS-107 mission aboard Columbia in 2003, in which she and her 6 crewmates lost their lives during entry. Kalpana Chawla honored on this mission of Cygnus to the International Space Station.
Verify local indicator illuminated.
LCAPS-1, launch enabled and illuminated.
And GSO step 348, enable your local launch enable button at the failsafe panel. Verify local indicators illuminated.
GSO, launch enabled and illuminated.
Copy that. We'll check steps 347 and...
As mentioned earlier, the Antares rocket being launched tonight is a 2-stage rocket to propel the Cygnus cargo craft to its preliminary orbit, beginning the chase to reach the International Space Station in the wee hours Sunday morning. With us this evening by phone to discuss Antares and its 9-minute ride from the launch pad is Christina Halona, the Northrop Grumman Antares Systems Engineering Program Manager. Christina, thanks for joining us tonight. Good to be with you.
Thank you for having me, Rob. I'm excited to be here, and welcome to all the viewers watching. Looking forward to a successful Antares launch and a Cygnus mission to the International Space Station.
Inside 34 minutes until liftoff, and if you would, Christina, walk us through Antares launch and its climb to orbit step by step.
Sure. So after post-launch from Wallops there, Cygnus will separate from the Antares rocket approximately 9 minutes after launch. The spacecraft will then begin initializing the propulsion system and various avionics components. The solar array deployment will start approximately 2 hours after separation, and then once that is complete, Cygnus will continue catching up to the International Space Station in preparation for berthing on Saturday morning around 5:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Christina, this is called a 230 plus model of the Antares rocket. Tell us a little bit about its capability and what Northrop Grumman envisions for Antares in the future.
Sure, Rob. Prior to NG-12, we had 230 configuration, and that it was a little bit, we had to go a little bit lighter and took some things off and improved a lot of our mass issues. So 230 plus is we can carry more cargo, and we're also getting very light as far as the things that we're building onto the rocket. And we're looking forward to have 230 plus through NG-17. And looking forward to taking more cargo to the International Space Station in the future.
Christina Halona of Northrop Grumman with us this evening by phone as the countdown for Cygnus's launch now stands at T-minus 32 minutes and counting. At the time of launch at 8:38 and 44 seconds p.m. Central Time, 9:38:44 Eastern Time, the International Space Station and its 3 residents will be flying 258 miles over the Atlantic off the northeast coast of Brazil. Antares, I should say, and Cygnus will follow a familiar flight path, launching to the southeast from Wallops to start the rendezvous that will lead to its robotic capture on Sunday morning. The 2 robotic astronauts who will be in charge of capturing Cygnus after its 3-day journey from the launch pad are Station Commander Chris Cassidy of NASA. He will be backed up by Russian cosmonaut Ivan Wagner. Cassidy, Wagner, and Russian cosmonaut Anatoly Ivanishin are asleep at this hour, beginning the final 3 weeks of their 6.5-month mission on the orbital outpost. They are planning to return to Earth on October 21st U.S. time, October 22nd Kazakhstan time, on their Soyuz MS-16 spacecraft, heading for a parachute-assisted landing on the steppe of Kazakhstan to wrap up a mission of 6.5 months aboard the International Space Station. That will come after an 8-day handover from the next trio of residents to launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan to the International Space Station, including NASA astronaut Kate Rubins and Russian cosmonauts Sergei Ryzhikov and Sergei Kud-Sverchkov, who are in the final stages of training down at the Baikonur Cosmodrome. Their launch is scheduled just after midnight Central Time on October 14th. 30 minutes now until liftoff. Antares is in great shape on the launch pad. No issues being worked by the launch control team at Wallops Island.
Launch team LC, countdown 1. We're at T-minus 30 minutes to our target T0. Step 353, poll for final FTS power on in Arm Command test. Safety?
Safety is go.
FSO?
FSO's go.
Ops 1.
Ops 1 is go.
Elect 2.
Elect 2 is go.
We are go for final FTS power on in Arm Command test. FSO, step 354, bring up command transmitter with check channel on. And work.
The launch conductor at Wallops with an intermediate poll of his team in the Range Control Center. All positions polling go. The flight control team here at Mission Control in Houston also has been polled and has relayed their go status to the teams both at Wallops and at Dulles, Virginia, which again will take over control of the flight of Cygnus once it separates from the second or upper stage of the Antares rocket.
LC, FSO, Wallops command site is on, check channel radiating.
Copy that, FSO. And Ops 1, step 355, apply external power to FTSA and FTSB.
LC Ops 1, FTSA, external power on. FTSB, external power on.
Amongst the supplies being carried as part of the 4 tons of supplies and scientific experiments to the International Space Station is a variety of food for the expedition crew members, not only the departing Expedition 63 crew, but the oncoming Expedition 64 crew. Some of the goodies being carried up aboard the SS Kalpana Chawla to the International Space Station include brie cheese, several varieties of smoked Gouda and provolone, prosciutto, chorizo, dark chocolate-covered cranberries, Genoa salami, and summer sausage. Some of that requested specifically by the Expedition 64 crew, Kate Rubin, Sergei Ryzhikov, Sergei Kud-Sverchkov, and the next crew to launch on SpaceX's Crew Dragon, currently scheduled for the early morning hours of October 31st. That crew will be launching on a 25-hour trajectory from Launch Pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center to reach the International Space Station in the early morning hours of November 1st.
LC Elect 2, FTS arm indication received. FTS currently indicates safe.
And FSO verify FTS arm indication.
FSO had arm indication.
LC Elect 2, FTS safe and arm, and FTLU safe.
And I copy all, and that complete steps 361, 362, and 363.
For the flight profile of Antares as it heads uphill to the point of its preliminary orbit, dropping off Cygnus in its preliminary orbit some 9 minutes after launch. We'll be hearing these performance calls from the Range Control Center at Wallops Island, Virginia. The main engine cutoff for the first stage of Antares will come at about the 3-minute 18-second mark, followed about 6 seconds later by stage 1 separation, and 30 seconds after that by fairing separation, which will expose the Cygnus resupply craft to the environment heading uphill for the remainder of the 9-minute ride to its preliminary orbit. Stage 2 ignition is scheduled at about the 4-minute 7-second mark into the flight. That will be about a 2-minute 44-second burn of the Stage 2 engine. Following that, at the 6-minute 51-second mark, we'll have Stage 2 burnout and orbital insertion, followed 2 minutes and 18 seconds later by Cygnus's separation from the second stage. And as you heard from Christina Halona earlier in our interview with her, it will be about 2 hours or so after launch where the commands will be given to begin the deployment of Cygnus's ultraflex solar arrays. That's about a 30-minute procedure. We will not be on the air for solar array deploy. We will be standing by to monitor it, however, and will report the results of solar array deploy on our website at nasa.gov. 25 minutes until launch, everything going smoothly.
25 minutes to our target T0. Step 364, report readiness for recalibration of engine pressure sensors, MES2.
LC MES2, ready for engine pressure sensor recal.
EHS1.
EHS1 is go.
And we're ready for engine pressure sensor recal, OPS1, recalibrate engine pressure sensors.
LC OPS1 and work. LC OPS1, engine pressure sensors recalibrated and ready for flight.
Copy that, OPS1, check 365. Prop 2, LC, countdown 1, step 366, place OCCS into SAC mode and pause HSS ASC.
LC Prop 2 in work. And LC Prop 2, HSS ASCs paused.
And your go to configure EHS RP valve for final countdown.
And copy that, opening valve 8021 on my mark, 3, 2, 1, mark.
And LC Prop Lead, EHS RP configured for final countdown.
Copy that, prop lead. We'll check 368 complete. Prop 2, resume HSS ASC.
There will be one final poll for readiness to proceed with the terminal countdown that will be coming up shortly. At the T-minus 3-minute 30-second mark, the Range Control Center engineers will be initiating an auto-sequence handoff that will initiate the terminal count for Antares, leading to a launch once again at 8:38 and 44 seconds p.m. Central Time, 9:38:44 Eastern Time.
Step 372, arm tel for rapid retract.
LC Site Control, tel armed for rapid retract.
The TEL is the acronym for Transporter Erector Launcher. That's basically the gantry that you see buttressed up against the side of Antares as it stands on Launch Pad 0A at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport at Wallops Island, Virginia.
And tel, LC, countdown 1.
LC tel, go ahead.
Yeah, step 373.
Rapid retract arming is in work.
Okay, copy that. I'll wait for your call on that. GNC-1 LC, step 374, provide status of upper level winds.
LC, GNC-1, upper level winds are go.
Copy, upper level winds are go. We'll check step 374 complete.
One interesting note about this particular mission of Cygnus to the International Space Station, as we mentioned, this vehicle named by Northrop Grumman after the late NASA astronaut Kalpana Chawla, who lost her life in the Columbia accident on February 1st, 2003. She was the first NASA astronaut of South Asian and Indian descent. The lead NASA flight director for this mission, Pooja Jasrani, who will be on console Sunday morning for the rendezvous and capture of Cygnus, also of Indian descent and South Asian descent. So the symmetry of history coming into focus with Pooja Jasrani, who will be in mission control here in Houston, presiding over the... Once Cygnus reaches orbit, a series of pre-programmed engine firings on the vehicle will begin the 3-day rendezvous to catch up to the International Space Station. The Cygnus will arrive at a point just directly underneath the station early Sunday morning, and then will inch its way up what is called the R-bar, or the radial vector, the imaginary line drawn between the International Space Station and the Earth, to a point at which Chris Cassidy, backed up by Russian cosmonaut Ivan Wagner, working from the cupola workstation, the robotics workstation in the cupola, will extend the Canadian-built Canadarm2 robotic arm to grapple the grapple fixture on Cygnus, at which point the operations will be turned over to ground controllers here in Mission Control, who will maneuver Cygnus to its installation point on the Earth-facing port of the Unity module, where it will be bolted into place and will remain at the station until mid-December. Coming up on the T-minus 19-minute mark into the countdown, no issues being worked right now by the launch control team at the Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. The countdown at Wallops continues to proceed without any issues being worked as we approach the 17.5-minute mark until liftoff. Once again, at the time of liftoff, the International Space Station and its 3 residents, Station Commander Chris Cassidy of NASA and Russian cosmonauts Anatoly Ivanishin and Ivan Wagner, will be flying 258 miles over the Atlantic Ocean off the northeast coast of Brazil. They have been aboard the International Space Station since April, just 3 weeks away from completing a 6.5-month mission on the orbital outpost. Antares is fully fueled, ready to take flight. No issues being worked. Everything very quiet on the loops right now.
Yeah, LC, this is prop lead. Actual F1N level is 12 of 12. And LC, this is prop lead, step 381. Actual F1N level is 12 of 12.
Okay, copy that. 12 of 12. Core 1 LC, step 382. Can you provide status on F1N level? Core 1 LC, countdown 1.
LC, Core 1 on countdown 1. Can you stand by?
Yeah, affirm. Let's make it quick. CMDLC, countdown 1. CMDLC, countdown 1.
LC, this is CMD.
Yeah, CMD, you go for step 385. Transfer Cygnus to launch mode.
LC, CMD in work.
Copy and work.
LC, Core 1 on countdown 1.
Go ahead, Core 1.
Fuel level adjustment is not required.
Copy that. Fuel level does not require adjustment. And prop 2, configure OCCS for no adjustment to fuel level.
LC, prop 2 in work.
And properly be advised, step 384 is not required.
Launch engineers monitoring the fuel levels on the Antares rocket. Everything seems to be in excellent shape as we approach the 14-minute mark until liftoff. The International Space Station currently traveling on a northwest to southeast trajectory, having just passed over Washington, D.C., in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator.
To implement a hold at T-minus 11 minutes. Again, we're going to go ahead and implement a hold at T-minus 11 minutes. That will be a CDT hold time of 012745. TD, you copy?
TD copies all.
And admin, you copy? Correct. Hold number 1 on your matrix.
Admin copies hold.
And prop 2, can I get status on step 383?
And LC, this is prop 2 on countdown 1. We are working an issue. The wrong button was selected. We are in talks with admin currently.
Copy that.
LC TD on countdown 1. Range is green for wind drifted debris and toxic for the whole window.
All right, copy that. TD, we're going to go ahead and implement our hold at T-minus 11 regardless.
TD copies all. Please advise with the pickup time for the clock.
Yeah, Wilco. Our resume time will be 013244. How copy?
TD copies 013244 Zulu.
That's a good readback. Okay, launch team, we are going to go ahead and hold the clock at T-minus 11 minutes. We have not proceeded with our poll with the final countdown, working a couple of late issues here. We have directed Cygnus to put themselves in launch mode, so they'll report back on that. And we're also in our helium topping at this time, and we'll get additional status out here as it becomes available.
And as you heard from the launch control team at the Range Control Center in Wallops, we're going to go into a hold at T-minus 11 minutes, just about 40 seconds from now, as they evaluate wind direction that would come into play in the unlikely event of a launch accident that would take toxic fuel into the wrong direction of personnel working at the Wallops flight facility. If everything goes as planned, we expect to be able to pick up the count to reach the end of this 5-minute launch window. There is only a 5-minute launch window available for any launch attempt for Antares and the Cygnus spacecraft.
We're currently in our 4-minute, 59-second hold, trying to resolve a couple of issues here. We'll provide status in a second.
The launch window expires at 8:43 and 44 seconds p.m., 9:43:44 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll be standing by for further words from the launch conductor at Wallops. Once again, we are standing by for further word from the Range Control Center at Wallops on picking up the count to reach the end of this 5-minute launch window, which would expire at 8:43:44 p.m. Central Time, 9:43:44 p.m. Eastern.
LC, this is CMD.
Go ahead, CMD.
Yes, Cygnus is in launch mode and nominal.
Okay, copy that. We'll go ahead and check 387 complete. Okay, launch team LC, countdown 1. I do want to go ahead and get our poll to proceed with our final countdown started here. I understand we might get some go pendings, and I know that both prop lead and GC are off working some issues right now, but I want to get goes or go pendings on our poll to proceed with final countdown. Our planned pickup time is at 013244, and that's in just over 2 minutes. GSO?
GSO, go.
RSO?
RSO's go.
TD?
TD is go.
Stage 1?
Stand by, LC.
MES1?
MES1 is go.
ACE?
ACE is go.
And Mars?
Mars is go.
And everybody else can stand by.
Just under 2 minutes left before the countdown would need to resume to reach the end of tonight's 5-minute launch window. Standing by for further word from Wallops.
Okay, launch team, we're going to be picking up the count in just over a minute here. Again, our new target T0 time will occur at 014344 UTC. That's 014344 UTC. Ops 2 LC.
Go ahead, LC.
Yeah, be advised we're going to delay start of engine evac until I give you direction to do so.
Copy that. LC, stage 1 is go.
Okay, copy. I've got stage 1 go.
Standing by for the resumption of the countdown to reach the end of the launch window with the new T0 time for liftoff at 8:43:44 p.m. Central Time. Now we're hearing that the reason for this brief delay is a boat out in the range. The range believes it will be clear just a moment or two from now.
Okay, I want to complete our poll to proceed with final countdown. Prop lead, countdown 1.
Prop lead is go pending 1914 reading dry.
Copy that, prop lead. GC. Copy that. CMD.
CMD is go.
LD.
LD is go.
NG.
In honor of Kalpana Chawla, who inspired millions of people as the first woman of Indian descent to fly into space, Northrop Grumman is go.
Copy that. We are going to proceed with final countdown. Ops 2, your go for step 389. Start engine evac.
LC Ops 2, engine evacuation started.
The range now clear at Wallops. Everything in good shape at the T-minus 10-minute mark. Liftoff now scheduled at 8:43 and 44 seconds p.m. Eastern Time, 9:43:44 Eastern Time.
Ops 1, LC, countdown 1.
Go ahead, LC.
Yeah, step 391, enable ACS VDMs.
Countdown underway, T-minus 9 minutes and counting.
VDMs internal power on.
The range is clear at Wallops. Antares in great shape, Cygnus ready to fly.
VDMs enabled, voltage nominal, ODM commands clear.
Copy that, elect 1, check 392. Launch team be advised, step 393 is not required for today's operation. Site control, I'll wait for your call on 394.
LC MES1, step 390, vacuum verified.
Copy that, MES1, check step 390 complete.
T-minus 8 minutes and counting.
LC site control, GNC conditioning initiated.
Copy that, site control. Check step 394 complete. And prop 3, I'll wait for your call on step 395.
Copy that, LC.
As the International Space Station approaches the northeast coast of South America, we're coming up on the 7-minute, 20-second mark into the countdown.
LC, this is Prop 3 on countdown 1.
Go.
I can confirm step 395 BTSO activation verified.
Copy that. Check 395. Ops 2, step 396. Initialize ground ordnance power supplies.
LC Ops 2, ground ordnance power supplies initialized.
Ground ordnance power supplies nominal.
Copy all. Check 396 and 397.
T-minus 6 minutes and counting. In about 2.5 minutes, the ground sequencer will initiate the auto-sequence handoff for the terminal count.
TN2 confirmed. Roger that. Site control will check step 398 complete. And Ops 2, LC, countdown 1, step 399. You're go to initiate engine priming.
LC Ops 2, engine priming started.
Ops 1, you're go to transfer avionics to internal power.
LC Ops 1, avionics internal power on. Standby 5.
Once again, Cygnus, once it reaches its preliminary orbit, will undergo a series of pre-programmed engine burns in the rendezvous profile that will take it to the International Space Station for its capture early Sunday morning. Capture scheduled at 5:10 a.m. Central Time, 6:10 a.m. Eastern Time. Chris Cassidy using the Canadarm2 robotic arm to grapple on to the Cygnus cargo craft for its ground-controlled robotic installation on the Earth-facing port of the Unity module.
All arm commands sent.
T-minus 4 minutes and counting.
NASA TD, step 406, report range status.
LC TD, range is green.
Copy, range green.
LC priming verified.
Copy, we have priming verified. Check step 407 complete.
Antares soon to create a artificial dawn on a night in which there's a full moon overhead, about to arc out to the southeast from the Wallops flight facility on its path to deliver Cygnus to its preliminary orbit.
FC commanded to flight mode.
Copy, LEC 1.
Auto sequence start. ODM voltages and currents nominal.
GNC1, verify ready for nav mode.
Terminal count underway.
Ready for nav mode.
Ops 2, 414, switch to nav.
Or nav, switch to navigate.
And LC, this is prop lead. We are
LC,
in OCCS automated abort.
nav, telemetry verified.
This is launch team on countdown 1, abort, abort. This is LC on countdown 1, abort, abort. We will be proceeding with abort safing 8-9. That's abort safing 8-9.
And as you heard, we have an abort, no launch tonight. Standing by for further words from Wallops. The launch was scrubbed at the T-minus 2-minute 21-second mark.
You're go to disable on Alpha 3, disable use no embedded data stream.
And data stream is suspended.
And Core 1 direct use NOIA to restart their MS session and report when complete.
In work.
Copy and work. As that's proceeding, let's press with abort safing 7, step Alpha 6, Ops 1, disable your local launch enable button, and verify indicator extinguished.
LC Ops 1, launch enable removed.
And GSO, step Alpha 7, disable your local launch enable button at failsafe panel and verify local indicator extinguished.
GSO launch enable removed.
Copy that. Ops 1, step Alpha 8, verify removal of master global launch enable.
Removal of master global launch enable verified.
Copy that. Ops 1 and Alpha 9, deactivate your arm enable at the failsafe panel.
Arm enable key rotated and arm enable no longer illuminated.
Okay, roger that.
To recap,
MES2, step Alpha 10, report engine priming status.
the Antares rocket is in the process of being safed after the launch was scrubbed at the T-minus 2-minute 21-second mark for reasons that we're standing by to find out from the Range Control Center at Wallops. This came after a brief hold in the countdown to allow a boat to clear from the range. The countdown had been proceeding normally otherwise, so we're standing by for further words from Wallops. Assuming a 24-hour recycle.
MES2, steps A11 and 12 are not required. A100 through 104 are required.
Okay, MES2, I copy that. And specific to Alpha 10, we have priming initiated. Can you verify if that's complete?
Assuming a 24-hour recycle for another launch attempt tomorrow night, Friday night, launch time tomorrow would be 8:16 and 12 seconds p.m. Central Time, 9:16 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern, assuming a 24-hour recycle. Of course, we're standing by for further official word from Wallops.
Can you give me the specific priming status where we're at on one of those four step check marks there?
Yes, priming complete, FIV closed.
Okay, copy that. Thanks, MES2. And Ops 1 LC, countdown 1.
Go ahead, LC.
Yeah, let's go ahead and save our vehicle SMAs and the vehicle and ground ODMs and verify ODM safe.
And work.
Once again, we're standing by for further word from Wallops. The countdown was halted.
Vehicle safe and arms and vehicle and ground ODM safe.
Copy that, Ops 1.
The countdown was halted at the T-minus 2-minute 21-second mark by the auto sequencer at Wallops on Launchpad 0A at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport. We're standing by for further word as to what triggered the abort in the countdown.
And elect 1 LC.
Yeah, stage 2 ignition and Aura SNA safe. Flight computer ODM safe. Stage 1 controller ODM safe. Ground ODMs are safe.
Copy all there. Elect 1 will check Alpha 14 complete. Ops 1, step Alpha 15. Close your FTS umbi loop and verify red indication.
FTS umbi loop closed and red.
Copy that, Ops 1. Ops 2, you're going to reset your ground ODM power supply.
LC Ops 2, ground ODM power supply reset.
FTS A and B SNAs are safe.
Copy. Elect 1 will check Alpha 16 and Alpha 17. And site control, wait for your call on Alpha 18.
LC site control, aft bay GN2 flow stopped. Aft bay airflow resumed.
Okay, site control, copy that. We'll go ahead and check Alpha 18 complete. And Core 1 LC, countdown 1. And Core 1 LC, countdown 1.
LC Core 1's tied up with Fusion.
Okay, copy that. Thanks, Stage 1. Okay, launch team, moving into abort safing 6. We've already performed step Alpha 19. We've performed step Alpha 20, Alpha 21. Site control, LC, step Alpha 22. You go to disarm TEL rapid retract system.
LC site control, TEL rapid retract. Disarm is active.
Copy that, site control.
LC Core 1 on a countdown 1.
Yeah, Core 1 looking for status on the restart of the MS session.
MS session is restarted.
Copy that, Core 1. We'll check Alpha 4. And TLM, you go for Alpha 5. Enable Usinoia data stream. Turn on Usinoia embedded stream output to the MS data recording workstation.
Data stream enabled.
Copy all there. We'll check Alpha 5 complete. Okay, launch team resuming with abort safing 6. TLM, step Alpha 23. You go to the stop and restart telemetry archiving.
Copy that, LC. Archiving stopped and restarted.
Copy that, TLM. Check Alpha 23 complete. Ops 1, step Alpha 24. Transfer FTSA and FTSB to external power.
LC Ops 1, FTSA and B external power on, FTSA and B internal power off.
Roger that. We'll check Alpha 24 complete. And Ops 1, step Alpha 25. Transfer avionics power to external.
Didn't work. LC Ops 1, avionics external power on, avionics internal power off.
Copy all Ops 1. And CMD-LC, countdown 1.
LC to CMD.
Yeah, step Alpha 26. Your teams go to proceed with transferring Cygnus back to external power, and you'll report when complete.
LC, CMD, and work.
Copy and work. Ops 1, step Alpha 27. Disable ME1 and ME2, TVC, and EHA buses.
LC Ops 1, and work.
This is Mission Control Houston. Standing by for more details on what triggered the countdown abort at the T-minus 2-minute 21-second mark before Antares was scheduled to lift off. The preliminary indication is that the problem was attributed to a piece of ground support equipment, not the rocket itself, not Antares, not Cygnus, but a piece of ground support equipment. Engineers at Wallops are working to verify as they look at the data and determine whether or not we in fact will make another attempt tomorrow night as is hoped.
Copy that, LCM work. And TCOM is configured for closed-loop telemetry.
And TLM, I copy that. At this time, launch team, I want to poll for FTS power off, elect 2.
Elect 2 is go.
And GSO?
GSO, go.
And FSO?
FSO, go.
We'll go for FTS power off. Ops 1, remove FTS power.
FTSA, external power off. FTSB, external power off.
FTS power off.
Okay, copy all. And step Alpha 33 FSO, you go to secure CT site and verify RF silence.
And work. LC, FSO, CT site keyed down, RF silence verified.
Okay, FSO, I copy that. We'll check step Alpha 33 complete.
This is Mission Control Houston. To recap, tonight's launch attempt for Northrop Grumman's Antares rocket.
Launch team LC, we're at step Alpha 34, abort safing 6. We did have an automated abort occur. Abort occurred approximately at T-minus 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And we are currently investigating what the cause of that automated abort is, and we'll report out when that's available. Okay, we'll proceed now with our post-LO2 board reconfiguration. And TLM Alpha 35 is not going to be required since we just went ahead and did a archiving restart.
Concur.
And Ops 1, step Alpha 36, you go to remove external power from the transmitters and SMI buses.
LC Ops 1, stage 1 telemetry transmitter, external power off. Loader cone transmitter, external power off. Avionics telemetry transmitter, external power off. SMI power A, external power off. And B, external power off.
Okay, copy all Ops 1, elect 1, verified transmitter power off.
Transmitters are off.
Roger that. NASA PM, step Alpha 38. You can cease C-band interrogation and turn off your TM recorders.
This is Mission Control Houston. To recap, Tonight's launch attempt for Northrop Grumman's Antares rocket to send the Cygnus resupply craft to the International Space Station was scrubbed about 2 minutes and 40 seconds before liftoff due to an unknown problem with what appears to be a component of a ground support equipment, not the rocket itself, not the Cygnus spacecraft itself, but a piece of ground support equipment. That is under investigation as the Northrop Grumman engineers at the Range Control Center at Wallops Island, Virginia, pore over the data and make a determination as to whether or not we can make another launch attempt tomorrow with a 24-hour recycle.
Copy that, and Mark?
If, in fact, the problem is minor and can be corrected to permit a launch attempt on Friday night.
And engine bottle charging?
The launch time on Friday would be 8:16 p.m. Central Time, 9:16 p.m. Eastern Time, resulting in Cygnus arriving at the International Space Station in the early morning hours of Monday, October 5th.
State is set. Roger that, admin. And this is handwrite step alpha 41.1 prop lead. Return OCCS to automatic control.
Yeah, OCCS is in auto control mode.
Okay, copy that. And stand by, launch team. Okay, launch team LC on the countdown net. So at this time in step alpha 42, the intention for our next launch attempt is to perform a recycle and come back and do this again in 24 hours. That's all contingent on understanding what caused the abort, but all of our pad recovery efforts will be based off the assumption that we're coming back in 24 hours. There will be no cargo refresh that's required at this time. And again, so our pad recovery effort should be assuming that we do not have a cargo refresh at this time. We'll check step alpha 42 complete. Okay, if I get ACE GCE, MES1, prop lead, site control, stage 1 system over to the anomaly 1 net, and I have to see if I can get OPM over there as well, so stand by for LC on anomaly 1.
This is Mission Control Houston. As you heard from the launch conductor at Wallops, the intent for the launch control team at Wallops Island, Virginia, is to point toward a 24-hour recycle and another launch attempt on Friday night, pending an understanding of what caused the scrub of tonight's launch at about the 2-minute 40-second mark. The launch control team is taking a look at the data of the systems down at Wallops before they lock that in. Assuming a 24-hour recycle, we would go on the air on NASA television with tomorrow night's launch attempt at 7:45 p.m. Central Time, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time, for a launch at 9:16 p.m. Eastern, 8:16 p.m. Central Time. That would result in Cygnus arriving at the International Space Station on Monday morning for a capture at 4:20 a.m. Central, 5:20 a.m. Eastern Time. Again, we'll be standing by for further information, but again, as you heard on the loop from the launch conductor, the intent is to press ahead to prepare for another launch attempt on Friday night, pending a resolution of the problem, which is still being analyzed through the data that's being studied by the launch control team at Wallops to determine what caused tonight's abort and the scrub of tonight's launch at the T-minus 2-minute 40-second mark. This is Mission Control Houston. To recap tonight's launch attempt for Northrop Grumman's Antares rocket to send the Cygnus resupply craft with 4 tons of supplies and scientific experiments to the International Space Station was scrubbed at about the T-minus 2-minute 40-second mark. The countdown had been proceeding normally until we stopped the count earlier to allow the range to clear around the Wallops flight facility in Virginia and the Oceanside launch pad for the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport. Once the countdown resumed, everything was proceeding normally until the countdown was called off. Engineers for Northrop Grumman at Wallops are looking at the data as to what specifically caused tonight's countdown to be halted, and the 5-minute launch window expired with no attempt tonight for Cygnus to go skyward to send itself to the International Space Station. So the intent, pending resolution of the problem that caused tonight's scrub, is to recycle for another launch attempt tomorrow night, Friday night.
To 2400.
We will begin our launch coverage on Friday night, pending resolution of the problem at Wallops, at 7:45 p.m. Central Time, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time, for a launch at 8:16 p.m. Central, 9:16 p.m. Eastern Time. Assuming a launch tomorrow night, that would result in Cygnus arriving at the International Space Station a bit earlier on Monday morning than it would have on Sunday morning. The Monday morning rendezvous and capture coverage will begin at 2:45 a.m. Central, 3:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Capture scheduled now on Monday morning at 4:20 a.m. Central, 5:20 a.m. Eastern Time, and we'll be back for installation coverage at 6:30 a.m. Central, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, October 5th. We would urge you, however, to stay tuned to NASA.gov and social media for further updates from the Wallops Flight Facility, Virginia, as we point towards a potential second launch attempt on Friday night for the Antares rocket and the Cygnus resupply vehicle. So that will wrap up our coverage for this evening. Once again, launch was scrubbed about 2 minutes and 40 seconds before launch. Another launch attempt is expected on Friday night, with our coverage beginning tomorrow night at 7:45 p.m. Central, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time, pending a resolution of the problem that caused tonight's postponement. So we'll look for you tomorrow night, with all things being equal. For now, we wish you a good Thursday night from Mission Control in Houston.
Station calling LC.
Yes, this is MAS2. Does this start on A89?